Hi, this is the second part of the video where for the Sandfish city chamber aquaculture, where we are learning something about nursery phase to the grow out phase. In the earlier video you must have learned something about how the hatchery phase starts and ends in nursery 1. Okay, so the plates have been inserted in the tanks during the nursery phase 1 and the animals are growing in these tanks. And periodically when we see big animals, we take it out from these plates where they are already attached, like these, and we collect them and put in happas like this, where we are entering into the phase 2 of the nursery phase. So if you have a pan into the happa here, you can see a lot of sea cucumbers here, little babies. So in this phase, our criteria is if the animals cannot pass through this 900 micron mesh or less than a or mesh size, we collect these animals from the tanks, because maintaining them in the hatchery is expensive. A lot of food has to be given, power, etc., manpower. So we collect the animals as quickly as we can, the shooter animals or the ones which are growing big, and collect them in these happas. And from here, these animals either go to the second nursery phase, like I said before, which could be on land or in the ocean. On land, we have tanks like this, which I'll show you in a minute, which are the habitat simulators, meaning we are trying to simulate the habitat of a sea cucumber inside a tank, and the animals are growing there. Or we have a floating structure in not nearby ocean area, and in those we have nets like this, cover net like this, and we put in 50 to 100 animals per mesh bag like this to start the second nursery phase. So hatchery is already over. From there it's come into this room, which is a nursery 1, and from here we have been collecting ever from a month and more than a month animals which are big, and we are moving them into the nursery phase 2. So let's go and see the nursery phase 2 habitat simulator tanks outside. This is a typical habitat simulator tank. Habitat simulator means you're simulating the environment where the sea cucumbers are. So if you look inside the tank, it's a tank filled with different sizes of grain sizes of sand. They are filtered. We buy the sand from the coral sand from the commercial mining companies. And we bring them and we sieve the sands in different sizes, and we make a layer of sand. It's almost like a biofilter, where you have big boulders down here, then you have progressively smaller size, mesh size corals and rubble and core sand and fine sand in that order from downstairs. And below there is a network of piping. Basically what it's doing is the water from the outside is going down through the air system into the bottom, through the filter it's coming up. So the water is getting clean. The water is going down to the sand acts as a natural a filter. And in these tanks what we do for final, this habitat simulator takes about a week to 10 days to materialize, because we want also to be ready, because we need some organic growth also on it, so, and the bacteria also to grow on it. So we run this simulator tank for a week or 10 days, then it's ready. In the meantime, we also bring in some mud from the mangrove area and also do an inch coating of mangrove mud also in the tanks. And those animals which we just saw in the nursery 1 phase, which are big enough to come out here, about 1 to 2 gram size, or even just 0.5 to 2 gram size, are bought, and either we bring the entire plates where the animals are big and leave the plates inside these tanks. All these tanks are going to be ready for those the plates which you saw inside in the nursery 1 phase. And they grow here for around 3 to 4 months, and then they are ready around 20 gram size, to go to the final grow out phase or the bottom grow out farm. This is one system called habitat simulator system. Like you said, this is on the land, and also again this is also highly energy consuming, because you see the water is flowing. This is raw sea water mimicking the ocean. It's flowing 24 hours through a 1 micron filter just to make it a bit more cleaner, not too clean, but there is some sort of cleanliness in the water. And the water is going out into the ocean after filtering through the filter. Here too, we give them food from inside. We give them a mixture of seagrass and mud, and pulverize them and blend them and pour into these tanks every day. So that's a feeding for these animals. And like I said, once these animals put down here, they go down into the tank and they are happy with the sand environment, and they start growing, eating the mud and feeling so that they are in the same environment as they are in the ocean. So this is one type of system called Habitat Simulator Nursery-2 system. But we have another system called the HAPA system, which essentially the animals are taken from the same nursery one phase, and we put them in floating net structures like you just saw before in the oceanic condition, and there they grow for again 3 to 4 months, or depending on our benchmark is 20 gram size. Whenever the animals are ready, we take them out for the final grow out phase to market size. That we'll be seeing in Nico Marine Park in Pohnpei, which we will go there right now. So now we are at a site in Pohnpei, Nico Marine, where we are doing a different kind of Nursery-2 phase. Here, if you see, if you pan right on the water, you can see floating structures made of PVC pipe and white bags floating in the water. These are sea cucumbers inside. The little babies which you saw in the tanks at Nursery 1, which could not go through those bags, are stocked in these kind of nets at around 50 to 100 animals per net. Each net is around 2 meters long, a meter wide and 2 meters deep. So these are floating in 20 by 20 frame. We have 9 pieces in each, and these animals are grown in there till they reach 20 gram size, or a finger size. At the time they are going into the bottom grow out phase, which will net whether there are any predators like crabs or worms or anything which can also affect the growth of sea cucumbers, and even sometimes they can create mortality for the sea cucumbers. So those are the. So every day we have to monitor, go physically inside each net and see none of these animals are there inside the hapas, because they can come. Doesn't mean that they have to be there as a big adult. They can come during a nursery phase or during high tide, just as it is right now, as larvae or eggs, and they go inside in those hapa nets. Those white nets are called hapa nets, or the Nursery-2 nets. And these animals can grow, because there is food inside. They'll grow either hassling, competing with the sea cucumbers. If there are crabs, they might hassle them because they are soft-bodied animals. They might use their pincers and mouth appendages to check on these animals and injure them, and thereby you'll see animals dying. Growing them in open area because you are under the mercy of natural conditions, like you don't know if it rains a lot or for a couple of days the water doesn't change much, there's freshwater influx, or there's it's a pollution from a ship, it might kill the sea cucumbers. But the advantageous part of it, they'll grow faster comparing to the ones in the tank, because they are eating the natural food. You see the nets are dirty, but that dirty is intentionally left dirty because that is the food of the sea cucumber when they are juveniles. They are grazing on the algae growing and the organic matter growing on inside at the bottom of the nets, and the algae growing on the side of the nets are being grazed by the sea cucumber, and they are growing in the natural environment. So here, from this phase, around 20 gram size, we collect animals from these hapas and we take them to the grow out phase, which is the next important phase of the sea cucumber aquaculture. This is Maureen. She's a student with us for the Step Up program, and we are giving her a small science project. She's a high school student on whether there is any difference in feeding and non-feeding cucumber. She'll explain to you a little bit about what she's doing. Maureen, over to you.
Okay, so in these buckets are food for sea cucumbers that we are about to go feed right now, and it's algae mixed with seaweed and mud. Me and my colleague prepared these before we came, and yeah.
Yeah, so what she's basically she's trying to see is, she's trying to see whether we need to feed them more than the one we feed the same thing inside the tanks in the nursery phase 2 down there. So we want to see whether there's any difference by adding a natural amount of feed to the existing feed, whether the animals will grow faster or not. That is the project aim. So let's see, after 1 month we'll measure the growth of the animals and see whether there is any difference in the input of the food being given into the tank, or whether the natural food is good enough and they are growing faster. Now we are at the last phase of the sea cucumber farming, which is the grow out of the sea cucumbers from the nursery to phase. The nursery 2, like we discussed before, it's either it's happening in a habitat simulator in the tanks or in floating hapas, as you just saw in the ocean environment. So animals from here, around 15 to 20 gram size, are collected and they are ready to go down into the farming enclosures like ones here, and they grow out from here to around 1 to 1.5 years to be the market size animals, which is the size of animals which you are seeing in my hand, which is around 300 to 400 grams. So that's why it looks very small, but they are heavy. My hand is heavy. So these 20 gram animals are put in these enclosures, which are basically sandy bottom areas where sea cucumbers usually dwell, and we have enclosed the area, and the net is going 2 feet deep so that the sea cucumbers don't bury and pull out of your farming area, because at the end of the day, because you are growing a produce, so you need control of your stock. So these structures are in enclosed areas. Here the sea cucumber 20 gram size nursery 2 sea cucumbers are stocked at 1 per meter square. That is 3 feet, 3.5 feet square size area, so that they have enough bottom sand and organic matter for them to eat and grow to this size. So that's what's happening. This is a miniature test farm, but a commercial farm which you will be going soon is a 1 hectare, a 10,000 meter square or round or oblong structure. That is a minimum size of a commercial farm, where you can stock up to 10,000 to 20,000 pieces of the 20 gram size, and will get 10,000 or 50, around half the stock, 50% survival to a size of this nature. So that is the main part in the grow out. There we don't do any feeding. They are totally dependent on the nature's sand and organic matter in the sand, and sea cucumbers have a lot of recycling in their life cycle. So it's very important to keep these animals in the ocean environment because of these kinds of jobs they do for cleaning the bottom benthic area, and also maintaining the acidity of the soil, the pH of the soil. So the casting of the sea cucumbers are maintaining buffering the soil pH and the water pH. So they have a very big function, but as far as aquaculture is concerned, that's a what I was just talking about is the marine environmental function of sea cucumbers. This one is a highly priced item in the Oriental market. So a lot of places are growing sea cucumbers, and Pohnpei also has these valuable species around. So this is the first of several species we want to try to develop a hatchery-based sea cucumber farming technology for FSM and other Micronesian regions. So this is the last puzzle for us to solve. How long will it take and how many we can produce to reach market size from a grow out farm. Thank you. So just to give you a perspective of things, this is the 20-gram size what we are putting in the farm, and this is the final size of the animal. So this is Nursery-2 grown animal which goes into the farms like those, and this is the end product after 1.5 years to reach the market size. So 10,000 or 20,000 of this species are numbers are put in the commercial farm, which we'll be seeing now, and these are the animals which will be size of the animals which are coming out of it in terms of harvest. Now we have reached the site where we have the commercial sea cucumber farm. This is a 10,000 by 10,000 meter square farm, 1 hectare farm, and I sort of show it should be 10,000 meter square, 100 by 100 meter, and we stock the Nursery-2 juveniles 20-gram size, around 10,000 pieces in here, and here they'll grow till 1.5 to 2 years. When they reach a market size animals like these are from our farm. These are already ready to harvest, so we are still monitoring their growth and survival, and these are the sizes we are looking for. So the aim of the project again is to produce sea cucumber through hatchery propagation, and if you see the area around, we have to choose an area also where there is not much of people are living and there is no fresh water influx, and also it's very next to the ocean, so there is a good exchange of water. If you see the bottom of the bottom area, you can see natural sea cucumbers at the bottom. Come this side and see. And if you see the sediment, it's very muddy, and there's some sort of organic matter growing in along with the sea grasses and seaweed. So this is a good place to grow sea cucumbers. So that's basically it with this video, where we are talking about the second phase from Nursery-2 to the grow out. So this is, if you see the general ecosystem, this is very much favorable for sea cucumber, and a lot of areas where we can grow sea cucumbers. So I hope the people of Micronesia take up this technology what we are trialing out here and make economic benefits out of it by growing sea cucumbers through aquaculture. Thank you.